the late 1800s, Thomas Otto and his family moved into a mansion at the corner of Eaton and Simpton Street in Key West, Florida, now known as the Artist House. The Ottos were known to be stern with their servants, sometimes even mistreating them. It was the treatment of one such as heightened servants that provides a twist in this story. This woman was hired to take care of their son, Robert. One day, Miss Otto surprisingly witnessed her practicing black magic in their backyard and fired her. Before she left, the woman gave Robert a lifelike doll which stood 3 feet tall, had button eyes, human hair, believed to be Robert's, and was filled with straw. Dolls that resembled children were not unheard of during this time, but this proved to be one that was special. Robert named the doll after himself and often dressed him in his clothes. Robert the doll became his trustworthy companion. He took it with him on shopping trips into town. The doll had a seat at the dinner table where Robert would sneak it bites of food. When his parents weren't looking, Robert would even be tucked into bed with the boy at night. Soon his innocent relationship began to take a strange nature. Soon after, Robert chose to be referred to his middle name, Gene. After being scolded by his mother, he told that Robert was the doll's name, not his. Gene was often heard in his toys room having a conversation with Robert. Gene would say sometimes in his childish manner, and response could be heard in such a lower voice. Sometimes Gene would become very agitated, worrying the servants and his mother. She would on occasions burst in to find her son crawling on the floor while Robert sat crouched in a chair or on the bed, gleaming at him. That was only the beginning. Household objects would be found thrown across the room. Gene's toys turned up mutilated, and giggling could be heard. Whenever those unusual acts took place, Gene would always say, "Robert did it." The boy took the punishment, but always insisted that the blame was Robert's. As the mischief grew, more and more servants took their leave as new ones were hired. The Otto's relatives felt it was time to do something. With the recommendation of a great aunt, Gene's parents removed Robert from his care and placed him in a box in the attic. This is where he resided for many years. After the death of his father, Gene was wilted by his whole boyhood home. He decided to live in the Victorian mansion with his new wife. Gene had become an artist and felt the house was spacious and would provide a place for him to paint. He went to the attic and dusted up a childhood toy. He became attached to the doll despite his wife's displeasure. Gene would take the doll along with him everywhere they went. He sat in his favorite little chair while Gene and his wife slept nearby. The turret room became Robert's domain after Miss Otto moved him back to the attic. Their marriage slowly became sour until Miss Otto surprisingly went insane and died of an unknown reason. Gene followed soon behind. Robert supposedly attacked people, sometimes locking them in the attic. People who passed by claimed to hear evil laughter coming from the turret room. For some time, Robert remained in the empty house by himself until a new family purchased the mansion and restored it. The doll was once again moved to the attic. This pleased it as much as the last time. The doll was often found throughout the house. On one certain night, Robert was found at the foot of the owner's bed, giggling with a kitchen knife in its hand. This was enough to send them fleeing into their home. Robert was later moved to East Martello Museum in Key West, where he sits perched in a glass box. Despite his new living quarters, the doll is believed not to be giving up his menacing ways. Visitors and employees claim that they have seen the doll move. His smile has been known to turn into a squirrel. One employee claimed clean Robert, turned off all the lights, and left for the night. The next day, he returned to find the lights on. Robert sitting in a different position that night before, with a fresh layer of dust on his shoes. Some say he'll even curse you. If you take a picture of him, you must ask politely. He tilts his head in permission. However, if he doesn't, and you take the picture anyway, a curse will befall upon you and whoever accompanied you to the museum. The same will happen to you if you make fun of him. To this day, Robert remains at the East Martello Museum in his sailor suit, clutching his stuffed lion, continuing his metaphor.